Hi, everyone, and welcome to Brian's Horror Corner. I'm your host, Brian, and welcome to day 25 of my 31 horror movies in October Halloween series. So, today we're going to take a look at another sort of haunted house, supernatural kind of movie, and that is The Haunting in Connecticut from 2009. So, I actually just recently got this movie and watched it for the first time in preparation for this review. But it's a movie I've heard about for a while, so I wanted to check it out. So, let's just get into the setup and the premise, the cast, and then we'll get into my thoughts and review, which will be spoiler free. So, The Haunted in Connecticut's a 2009 American supernatural horror film produced by Gold Circle Films and directed by Peter Cornwell. The film story follows the fictional Campbells as they move into a house to mitigate the strains of travel on their cancer-stricken son Matt. The family soon becomes haunted by violent and traumatic events from supernatural forces occupying the house. So we open in 1987. Sarah Campbell is driving her son Matt home from the hospital, where he has been undergoing cancer treatment. Sarah and her husband Peter, a recovering alcoholic, discuss finding a rental house closer to the hospital. On another hospital visit, Sarah finds a man putting up a for rent sign in front of a large house. The man is frustrated and offers her the first month free if she will rent it immediately. The following day, Peter arrives with Matt's brother Billy and cousins Wendy and Mary, and they choose rooms. Matt chooses the basement where there is a mysterious door. After moving in, Matt suffers a series of visions involving an old bearded man and corpses with symbols carved in their skin. The next day, Peter learns that the house was supposedly a funeral home. The room behind the mysterious door is a mortuary. Matt tells another patient, Reverend Nicholas Popescu, Popescu, about the visions. Nicholas advises him to find out what the spirit wants. Later, Matt finds a burned figure in his room who begins to move toward him. When the family comes home, they find a shirtless Matt with his fingers blood covered from scratching at the wall. So that's sort of the setup and the premise of the movie. It goes from there. Cast wise, we have Virginia Madsen as Sarah Campbell, Kyle Gallner as Matt Campbell, Elias Cortez as Reverend Nicholas Popescu, Amanda Crew as Wendy, and Martin Donovan as Peter Campbell. So yeah, that's the haunting in Connecticut from 2009. Um, it's a pretty decent movie. Kind of a mixed bag for me. I have pros and cons for it. I don't necessarily think it does anything groundbreaking or earth-shattering, different than any of the other haunted house or supernatural sort of movies that I've reviewed or that I own. But it's not bad. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Starting with the pros. It does have a pretty good story here. You know what you don't often get with horror movies and especially haunted house movies. There's actually a compelling reason why they move into this house. It has a good, compelling story, not only surrounding the family that moves into this house and what they're dealing with, but also the house itself, of course. And it's a pretty fleshed out story, I think. Effective and believable. So that's definitely one of the highlights of the movie is the story surrounding both the house as well as the family that moves into the house, and they come together to form a pretty good premise here. Also, you got to talk about the acting. I think the acting is really solid in this movie, especially by Virginia Madsen and Kyle Gallner, kind of the two main characters of the movie. They're really believable, and the acting was really solid. The performances add to the grounding realism of the movie. They definitely do a good job throughout. Um, it's a pretty good paranormal haunted. They have pretty good paranormal haunted house effects, although it's definitely not the best I've seen. But creepy images, especially when you see like the corpses with the like the words and the carvings in their bodies and their heads, like blood carvings. It's pretty creepy, pretty effective images. All the characters seem pretty real and interesting. Um, they all seem to have a purpose, and we come to care about them, what happens to them, which you don't always get in horror movies either. I kind of enjoyed the whole good spirit versus evil spirit part of this movie, or bad spirits, if you don't want to say evil. Even though it's been done before, it isn't a new concept. But I thought they did. I thought the movie explored the idea well, and it kind of has a smaller twist, I would say, of who you thought was bad is actually a protector and a good spirit. And I don't know, that's one of the things I enjoy about haunted house and sort of haunting kind of movies is the spirits that are involved and kind of where they come down on things. And I thought there were certain scenes in the movie that had good suspense, good moments with tension, especially towards the end of the movie. Of course, when we get more of the horrific elements. So those are my pros for the movie. Couple of cons though. The ending left me pretty underwhelmed. It had a pretty decent buildup of suspense, but I thought the ending just kind of left me pretty underwhelmed, to be honest with you. We don't really get a great payoff, in my opinion. The CGI that was used as bad as it normally is in horror movies. Also, this is a PG-13 movie, which isn't necessarily a con, but you don't get a lot of, there's not a lot of disturbing scares, or there's not any gore, very little blood. It's a PG-13 haunted house. Movies can be effective, but I've seen more effective ones than this one, I guess is what I would say. It has a lot of the typical haunted house cliches and tropes, a lot of pointless jump scares that don't do anything for me. It was a little predictable, especially as it relates to one thing as it relates to visions that Matt ends up having. And every time he grabs somebody's hand, basically, as they're praying or something, we immediately go into these visions. It's kind of like the door for it, I guess, which was a little bit wah wah, a little bit predictable. And honestly, I was kind of bored at certain points of this movie, especially in the first half of the movie. I mean, it's not so much. I understand they had to develop mood and characters and stuff, but there were just moments that were kind of underwhelming and boring for me, especially for a horror movie. I was never really really scared. I mean, like I said, there were effectively creepy scenes, but nothing really overly scary. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts about The Haunting in Connecticut. It is a good watch for October. Good anytime you have a haunting supernatural movie, I feel like for the most part those are good October movies to watch leading into Halloween. And this one, it's definitely not a terrible movie. The acting and the story alone are enough to keep it from being terrible. But I don't know. I wasn't blown away by it either. It wasn't overwhelmingly scary or obviously not gory or anything. Being PG-13, no harsh language. Not that you really need it, but it just kind of left me. It's just kind of an unspectacular haunted house kind of movie. Um, Good story, good acting, decent directing, some creepy images, but nothing. It just doesn't really stand apart. It doesn't really set itself apart as far as anything spectacular goes. So I don't know. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's a decent watch for what it is. It's definitely not a bad haunting movie, but I can't say it's one of the better ones that I've seen, even as part of this 31 horror movie series. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Go ahead and let me know if you guys have seen The Haunting in Connecticut, what you think of it down below in the comments. If you're into haunted house and you're looking for kind of a PG-13, more of a mind job kind of movie, I would recommend it, especially leading into Halloween. But if you're somebody that wants to be more disturbed by a horror movie or wants more blood and gore, then you're probably going to want to stay away from this one. 7 out of 10. This is a shorter review because honestly, I just don't have much to say about it. It's just kind of a, I don't want to say cliche haunted house movie, but yeah, kind of. It's okay. It's not awful. Um, Please like this video, hit the little notification bell below so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my horror content, including the rest of this 31 series. We only got 6 days left, as well as some of the other things I have coming up in November and December related to horror. So, thank you for checking out this video and stay scared. Bye.